Don't ever underestimate Diddy. Don't ever underestimate Diddy, and don't ever for a moment think that he is not working and maneuvering a way out. Do not. I say this to you, and I warned you, and I repeated this to you, just to the point where, well, I've said this so many times. This is something that you have to understand and grasp. And it may not make sense to you. It may not make intuitive sense, but it doesn't really matter, with all due respect. What matters is that it's being done, or it's being considered even. So what are we looking at right now? This is when you've thought you've heard everything right now. This to me blows my mind, but it's true. We are looking at inside the Trump-Diddy pardon, and the talks are going on. This is politics and power and the Epstein diversion. Now, in one of the most unexpected and explosive developments of the 2024 to 25 legal and political cycle, sources now confirm that Donald Trump's White House has been in communication with Sean Diddy Combs. That's right. Regarding, and this is the most part, regarding the commutation, the pardoning, the clemency regarding his sentencing. And before you say that's impossible, that's crazy, you don't know how this thing works. First of all, whenever you deal with Donald Trump, you must understand something. Any sense of logic goes out the window. I mean, anything that you even think is remotely logical, just forget it. Just forget it. It's one of those things which doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. Now the discussions are said to be serious and ongoing and very real, and are strategically timed, not just for Diddy's benefit, but potentially for Trump's as well. See, it works something like this. This comes on the heels of a controversial federal case that saw Diddy acquitted of three the majorest of major charges, but convicted on a mere two under the Mann Act, the white slavery charges, a century-old statute originally intended to curb forced prostitution, but often was criticized for its kind of vague language and its selective enforcement. Gee, surprise, surprise, as in most criminal statutes. But anyway, legal experts across the board have noted that the Mann Act is almost never used as a standalone charge, and they argue that had Diddy not been a high-profile target, a big shot, had he not been Diddy, and these charges likely would have never even been pursued at all. So that's a consideration as well. Now, according to sources with direct knowledge of the conversations going on right now, Trump is, quote, more than open to issuing a pardon, but he's holding off until Judge Arun Subramanian rules on Diddy's latest petition for bail. If Diddy is granted bail, Trump intends to let the case run its course through sentencing before weighing in. However, if Subramanian denies bail, Trump is expected to be prepared to act immediately. Does this sound nuts to you? Again, you don't know Donald Trump. This isn't just about clemency. It's about optics. It's about timing and control of the news and the news cycle, something Trump has mastered better than any political figure in recent memory. Now, it works something like this. The political calculus that we're talking about right here is not subtle. You see, Diddy's legal team is keenly aware, insightfully aware of the broader implications that we're talking about right here. A Trump pardon would not only send shockwaves through entertainment and political media, it would further cement and further maintain Trump's image as a disruptor, the disruptor in chief, who's unafraid, who's brave, and willing to challenge what he sees as weaponized justice. And he knows a little bit about that. Remember also, when you survive an assassination attempt, it changes your perspective. Now, make no mistake, Trump sees Diddy's prosecution as politically motivated. There's no doubt about that. And the fact that Maureen Comey, the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey and his nemesis, remember the shells with the 47? Anyway, the fact that she was lead prosecutor in the Diddy case did not go unnoticed. In fact, sources close to Trump say that this was a major factor in his interest. You see, Trump has publicly accused the FBI and the DOJ of systemic bias against him and his allies. A pardon here would fit neatly into his campaign narrative that America's institutions have become tools of persecution and are unfair and are bastions of injustice rather than justice. So adding even more intrigue to this, is the recent dismissal, again, of Maureen Comey from her role. Again, a development that Trump allies quickly seized on as a vindication and indication that the Diddy case was handled improperly, if not corruptly. See, the DOJ has made no formal comment on Comey's departure, none. But internally, and this is important, the move is seen as an effort to distance the department from a prosecution that has become politically radioactive. You think I'm being excessive in what I'm saying? Not at the least. Another layer of motivation is timing. See, sources say that Trump's advisors believe a Diddy pardon would be a perfect diversion from the resurging Epstein debacle, the scandal, which once again has yet again begun to dominate headlines, following Ghislaine Maxwell's congressional subpoena and talks thereof, and her own talks for pardon and the like in the midst, and the unsealing of several grand jury indictments and documents. You see, with high-profile names potentially becoming exposed, a pardon for Diddy, a widely known, controversial entertainment figure, could seize media attention and shift the narrative entirely. And you know what would happen. Now, to be clear, be very, very clear, Trump has not committed to a pardon. The ball for now is in Judge Subramanian's court. If he grants bail, Trump will wait until sentencing. But if bail is denied and Diddy is forced to remain incarcerated pending appeal, many sources say, the former president may act immediately and decisively. It's that simple. As though there's anything simple about this. So Trump's base has responded positively to the leaks, to the suggestions. Social media posts on platforms like X and others show MAGA supporters rallying behind the idea. Anything to basically subvert the system. It's interesting that the normally powerful anti-trafficking groups are kind of quiet about this. Now, many see Diddy's case as emblematic of the same double standards that they believe Trump himself has faced. They also see this as the media's coverage of the Mann Act convictions and as a distraction tactic, which is a way to keep attention away from the more damning failures of the Biden administration and intelligence community's role in shielding Epstein's network for decades. So pay attention. There are also, of course, got to say this, racial dynamics at play. You see, Trump's team has reportedly discussed how a pardon for Diddy in this respect might or could bolster, encourage Trump's standing among younger black voters, which is a key demographic, and a demographic which needs significant pumping up. This is the campaign is aggressively courting this group, and especially, by the way, in swing states. So Diddy, despite his legal controversies and all this, still commands major cultural influence. If framed correctly, and if positioned and presented correctly, a Trump pardon could be spun as a populist, anti-establishment, anti-deep state move that appeals across racial and generational lines, re-cements, reaffirming Trump's role as the independent, the bulldozer. And critics, of course, well, they're going to argue that it's all transactional, that Trump's interest isn't just about justice or mercy or what's right. It's about his own political expediency, his own media control, his own political points, and revenge against the DOJ. Okay, fine. But that, in a way, misses the point. Trump is transactional. And in an era where it's always been like that, perception is power, this move could be both politically brilliant and culturally nuclear and seismic. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is staying quiet. Insiders are suggesting they're preparing for both outcomes. You see, sentence mitigation, if bail is granted, and full clemency negotiations, if it's not. There are also reports that multiple civil suits are pending against Diddy in state courts, but those won't be affected by a federal court or any state conviction. Any federal pardon wouldn't affect it. But still, avoiding prison, especially under conditions that many say were manipulated and unfair, will be a colossal legal victory, and Trump knows that. And what's most remarkable and interesting about this is that this is all unfolding while Trump is running a presidential campaign, theoretically, because we're always running a campaign, and facing legal challenges of his own. Yet he remains fully engaged in high-profile legal dramas involving his, and you got to admit, his ability to phrase and to craft everything. Moving pieces like a media chess grandmaster. Now, whether you love Trump or you hate him, doesn't matter. It's hard not to recognize the brilliance of the move. See, by entertaining, by considering, by thinking about a pardon for Diddy, Trump hits multiple targets. What are they? Number one, it undermines faith in the Biden DOJ and the remnants of that. It exposes the double standard in celebrity prosecutions. And it reignites his feud with the Comey family. It dominates the media cycle and makes inroads and connections with younger and minority voters, whom he needs. Redirects attention from the Epstein scandal, distraction, diversion. And all without lifting a finger yet. The only thing standing between Diddy and a historic pardon is one judge's ruling on bail. If Subramanian denies it, expect Trump to seize the moment with characteristic charisma and boldness and balls. And if bail is granted, the drama will simmer. But make no mistake, it's far from over. In the political landscape, my friend, in the political landscape where narratives matter really more than nuance and really more than substance, Trump knows exactly what he's doing. And if Diddy walks free with Trump's signature on the pardon, the headlines will write themselves. Trump saves Diddy. It'll trend everywhere. And somewhere in that noise, somewhere, the names in the Epstein files might slip just a little further out of view. And that, my friend, is what it's all about. So what do you think? Please subscribe to our Lionel Legal channel. Our numbers are going up thanks to your support and your focus and your contributions. Please follow. Please be a part of this. I've got some questions for you. Please like this video. Liking the video is so critical. And more importantly, I want you to comment as you see fit.